They say there's no rest for the wicked. Just got home last night. We actually got home at midnight. Get home at midnight and was up and at the barn training today. We'll talk about the sets in just a minute. We're up and training today at the barn and nothing racing today. Nothing racing, but still soaking in a couple of good miles. Obviously Monday from Looks Like Money, Hunted House is still there. And then waiting for the draw to come out. I see JK Victory's in to go, but drew the 9-hole. Now he's been off almost 3 weeks, and the track was pretty hard to get a fast mile into them. I think James said he schooled him in 2-1. Not really what you would call a quality tightener 7 days out by any stretch of the imagination. So knowing James, knowing the circumstances, I think we all know what's going to happen. He's going to duck the horse and race him on the end of the mile, which I don't think anybody has a problem with right now. He's ready to go. Let's make sure he's ready to go. Had some updates on horses today. The eye of Stay Close is getting much better. The knee of we're going to test the knee out of Unbeatable Kemp a little bit this week. Train him a little on Friday, re-x-ray, evaluate, use our hands and horsemanship on Saturday, and then reevaluate after x-ray on him. I was really happy with what I've heard in both those cases of those horses moving forward. Talked about a horse we were looking at that was on gate tomorrow. Reached out to a number of people. It looks like we're in play, potentially in play with this guy heading into tomorrow's auction. I think he'd be a real good pickup. The timing is not great. I get it. I agree. Not great timing, but at the same token, it's not like quality horses, and this is what Steve and I and a couple other clients talked about. Not a lot of quality horses just fall in your lap. They just show up for sale, right? And I think it's a horse we should definitely take a very serious look at. He may go too high. I don't know, but I think he's a horse that we should take a look at. He's selling tomorrow, and a couple of our astute clients saw the horse also that maybe didn't see the video I made this morning or this afternoon. I know Patricia had sent me an email saying, "Hey, did you see the Indiana trotter that's up for sale?" I said, "Yo, mister." Yes, I did. Yes, I see you, mister. My only concern is he's so fresh and looks so sharp that it may drag him up to where he's too expensive. That's always the case, right? Anytime you're buying horses, there is a ceiling, there is a level. Steve and I got talking back and forth last night, and I said, listen, I think the market has altered the way that horses are perceived. You can buy a run-of-the-mill horse right now. Sure you can. Anybody can. Quality horses are hard to find right now. And that doesn't mean you just pay whatever, but it does adjust what you would call fair market, what you would call a buyer's price or a seller's price. That may alter how you look at it. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just business. So the horse is in play. We are looking at him. Very interested in him for tomorrow. We'll see how that works out and how that plays out. I'll bring that to you. If we do happen to pick up the horse, then I'll bring that to you right away. But for now, it's just another day at the office. Speaking of the office, I did want to get into how the horses went today. Today was Punch the Clock's first training camp. Not the greatest training surface today. The weather's been fantastic. It's supposed to be 20 degrees tomorrow in Ohio, and I'll talk about a big update for us heading into tomorrow morning also. But the track has got a good cushion on it for the winter at Stutzman's, but it also means there's got to be give and take there. It's great for the winter, but when the sun hits it, there's a little bit of dampness in it. It turns muddy real quick, and we were in a bit of a deep track today. Punch the Clock ended up making a break on James. But James, I was going to go with her, but I opted to go with Rito's Lady. She needed to be shook up a little bit, and I wanted to go with her. And really, Punch the Clock was just going through a practice session, so to speak. It's her first training trip back since being sick. Yes, I know, you're right on my bumper. There's not much I can do. Someone right in front of me. What a tool. So, Punch the Clock, it made a break. James said to me after, she was awesome after I got her really thought out. And my answer to that for a normal horse training will be, well, why wouldn't you just thaw her out to begin with? I can't see with your headlights in the way there, meathead. Why wouldn't you just thaw her out before the training session? And the answer was obvious. There was no need to. Let's punch the clock. She just got back. So she trained very well, though. I think James said he went a mile in 2:56 after it was all said and done, which is great. He said, yeah, once I got her thought out and got the wrinkles out of her, she was awesome. But what you have on a day like today is the mud when it comes up in those clumps, because the track was pretty deep. When it comes up in clumps, it's hitting them on the belly. She was operated on. It's hitting the mud apron. You can hear it spinning off the wheels. So it's noisy. It's uncomfortable. It's frustrating for some horses. And until they've been jogging and training in that type of environment, it's, especially for her, this is new for her. Remember, we broke her, started to train her down when it was getting cold, probably didn't spend a lot of time in the mud. Then it did get cold, and she never really had a lot of time in the mud. So this may have actually been the first day she'd ever went in a much deeper track like this. And if it wasn't, it's been quite a while since she has. So I was happy with her. So we're going to get right to it. Hallie in the Clouds, Drebin, Watch Your Mouth, Lonely Lakewood. We're in the first one, so is Flash Fly, Seasons 11 International, Spy. Now, Spy's hobbles broke training the mile. He made a break. I'm not really that worried about him. I didn't get a chance to really go with him. This guy here, I'll tell you what he did do. Kind of pinned his ears at me when we were starting to feed lunch, and I just whispered in his ear. I wouldn't do that again if I were you, Spy. You know, I like you. Think you're a nice horse, but the little ear pinning, that's a big no-no. And if the jaws happen to come open, out comes the scalping. Just letting you know. You do with what you want that information, but that's just the Brown rules. That's the way it is. So I think he may have comprehended at least the tone of my voice, and he decided that maybe he wasn't going to do that anymore. So we'll see how Spy is. A little cranky right now, but you see these horses go through these things throughout the winter training, and most of it's attributed to maybe they're getting a little sore, maybe they touch themselves, maybe their hobbles broke today. Could be a number of reasons, but I'm not too worried about Spy. He was fine. Seasons of Love looked fantastic today. Flash Fly made a couple of breaks. I can almost guarantee you it was attributed to those things I was telling you, the noise of the apron, the touching the mud, touching the belly underneath. She was trotting along perfectly on the front and just rolled off. And James said, I don't know what the hell get into her. I said, I'm pretty sure it's just a surface. I'm not worried about her. James said when we were gone away that he loves his filly. He goes there all the time. He said she was absolutely bionic both times I went with her. So that's good. I'm not too worried about the breaks from today. Lonely Lakewood was awesome again. Won a set. He's emerged in the throne, and he's been the king for a bit. Now there's only 20 or 21 horses here, but overall he fits possibly in the under the crown. Also, he's been one of our best trainers throughout and continues to be. We won a mile in 2:36 today. He won a mile in 2:35 and 4. Johnny said, I won a mile in, I had Drebin. Drebin made a couple of breaks, but again, I think it was mud. He jumped on his foot once. I'd said to Danny, we had that belly band hobbles on him. I don't like him in those. I think we'll maybe put the back to the bike hobbles back on him. I know exactly what he's doing. He's shifting his leads coming out into and out of the turns, and he's touching that left hind down low almost on the pastern, and it's very hard for the horses. They have to learn how to transition. I told him, he said he trains great when you just let him float over to the front. I have zero interest in that. He needs to learn to sit, sprint, slow down, and that's hard for horses that interfere there to do. They really have to focus, and they really have to work at their craft, so to speak. So Drebin, I wasn't disappointed with him. I know he jumped on his foot today. I had a couple of quarter horses today, as James put it. A couple of horses that had jumped on their foot a little bit. That's all right. He hurt my finger. It's fine. It's not the end of the world. So Hallie in the Clouds was good. Amy said she was a little moody finishing up her mile. 1, she's a filly. 2, it's muddy. I know what she's like. She did this on Amy last time. I jumped up on her and let her rock. And then for about 3 or 4 weeks, had to stay away from her. She was getting a little warm, and she wanted to get right at it all the time. I think she's dropping back somewhat into slumber mode. So I would imagine, depending on what happens over here over the next few days and how swamped they are in Ohio, if we do what I think we're going to do tomorrow, I probably won't be needed here Saturday unless I'm literally needed here on Saturday. So we'll see how that plays out over the next few days. I know that Jason's gone away, so I don't know what kind of hole that really puts on their staff. Do they have some people that can jog a couple of extra horses without being too burned out and worked hard? I don't know how many horses the average rider goes with here. I suspect 6 or 7. Does that mean 8 or 9 really puts them in a grumpy mood? I don't know. And if it does, then I'll stay through till Saturday and happily do that if that's what they need. But if I'm not as needed as that, then I'll probably take off Thursday after the Meadows. Unless it's raining really bad, I might take off Thursday before the Meadows. So we'll see how that plays out. So first set, Hallie in the Clouds was good. Drebin made a couple little breaks, but trotting very strong otherwise. Watch Your Mouth was good again. Jimmy Williams said he was good. Lonely Lakewood was awesome. Flash Fly made a couple little breaks, but again, not a big deal. Seasons of Love was great. And International Spy broke his hobbles. He'll be back at it soon. If I was there tomorrow, he'd be back at it tomorrow, but he'll be back at it on Saturday. Set number 2, Bruno was awesome. Again, this set was really impressive. Somebody had gone by us going a slow mile, a 2:30 clip, and was kind of coasting along, and we caught back up to them down the lane. We didn't go in 2:30. They started a little bit ahead of us, or a little bit behind us, past us, and then down the lane we inhaled the trainer. And Don't Talk About Bruno looked great. Time Is On My Side I thought was fantastic. James said he liked him the other day, and I agree 100% with James. He said he's sharp now, feeling good. I don't think we should be stretching him out, and I said, you're 100% right. You know, the flip-flops, I said, he'll throw a little step in at top speed. I said, James, that's the flip-flops. You keep the bit in his mouth, you won't see that ripple. But when you let him loose, and he stretches out, you know, that first little stride, he'll slip. I think he just puts a step in. That has everything to do with the flip-flops. I'm not worried about it. Good news is, we didn't have a bad winter. And now that the spring is coming, probably after this shoeing, the next shoeing in the next 3 weeks, we'll probably start taking all the cork and some of the flip-flops off the Pacers and some of the other horses. So, although we didn't really need the flip-flops as we would have in the past, in my mind, nevertheless, I'm sure they played a role. So, very happy with what I saw from Time Is On My Side. I finished up right in behind a wall of horses. He was great. Bruno was great. Mick Paisley was right beside me. I went with her and kind of scrubbed on her a little bit before I had gone away and pulled up. I thought it was the other colt, J-Port Beach Boy. They said, no, this is the filly. I said, wow, she looked good. He goes, ever since you went with her, she's been on point. And finished up with a bow in her neck right in behind, right beside me with Time Is On My Side. We were in behind Don't Talk About Bruno, Winter Bells, Blarney Castle. James's horse come back to life. You know, he'd been working on him real hard over the last 2 weeks, and the horse looked good at mile in like 2:35 and looked very, very good. He got up to win the set. Insider Trading was on the outside. I think, give me a second, I think it finished Blarney Castle, Winter Bells, and Don't Talk About Bruno were right beside each other. Insider Trading was on the outside 4th. I was 5th with Time Is On Your Side. Beside me was Mick Paisley, and Great Bet was right behind us. Again, he's doing his work best he can. And some of these horses that I haven't gone with, you know, sometimes you really just have to... the way a driver will train a horse is not the same the way a rider will train a horse. So Mario's been going with this guy, but Mario's not one to really wind a horse up, especially when you're talking about babies. But every so often, it's good to remind them, hey, it's work time. Let's get going. And Mick Paisley did 2 weeks ago. She's been good. Time Is On My Side very rarely, but once in a while he did. He was awesome today. I think it's time that maybe I got to go with Great Bet once or twice. Also him and J-Port Beach Boy. Both of them are doing their work well. I just want them to understand you're here to work. And quite frankly, you're here to win. Right? I want to see horses compete. And all the horses I've talked about in the first 2 sets have been great competitors over the last 2-3 weeks. Some of them from day one. And then the last set, very happy with Rito's Legacy. Rito's Lady. Rito's Lady was a little tough to get gated. I don't know much about the Huntsvilles. You know, obviously we have Hunted House, but I don't know much about the Huntsvilles. It was tough to get this filly gated. I want to get her fluoroscope to make sure she's okay. But when I had her pacing, she was very good. But in the middle of the straightaway, she'd get out of gear and crossfire a bit, cut both her quarters. I had said to Preston after the blacksmith, I said, just take all the cork off this filly. She's the first one to lose it. Put a set of half-round, half swedges on her behind. We'll take her up and get her fluoroscope. But I don't see any issues. Like, from my eyes, I don't see anything wrong with her. Man, she was much better today. James said she was horrible the other day training. Would not go, I believe is the sentence he used. She was fine today. I got over the half in 29, went a mile in 49 with her. That's the last half in 20, and she was great. I only got picked off by Dad, only fitting that James Arthur won the set today. Dad was up watching him go. He's pretty excited. That's the homebred of my father's, named after James. As you can imagine now, his middle name is Arthur. And the horse is by Arthur Blue Chip, so pretty cool way to go about the name. But he's a PEI bred. He's a maritime bred, so Dad sent him up here for us to train and send him back home. Don't really know why, now to say it, but either way, he looked good today. James Arthur, Punch the Clock was in there, made a couple of breaks, but I think James was reserved to the fact that he maybe just let her go out and dawdle and really didn't push her, which is fine. She didn't need to be pushed today. He said after he got her thought her out, he said, what a beautiful filly she was. I think he might have went with her once or twice before, but it's been a while for everybody. Nobody has gone with Punch the Clock in quite a while. So very happy to see her good today. Georgia the Jungle, easy in the turns was good, but easy on the turns tied up a little bit the other day. She did her work well in a deep track today, and I give Rito's Lady a swat, and when I did, I scared Georgia the Jungle, and he made a break, but that's part of training also. So I was happy with all the horses today. There was no horses that I looked and said, that horse is just a disappointment today. No, I mean, the horses that when I come to mind and I think of horses I would have loved to see do better today had excuses, right? Drebin couldn't get over the track. The horse at Powerhouse, he's one of our strongest horses. Flash Fly, guaranteed it was the mud. Even James knew. He said Philly was great the last 2 days. Just the mud hitting the apron, hitting her belly. He said, I'm sure that's all it was. And she's really fine-skinned, right? I told you guys she had a rash real bad for about 3 weeks. It's just getting over it now. Even when you brush her with the curry comb, she was dancing all over the cross ties. So you can only imagine if she's that tender with a curry comb or a brush, how tender she'd be and how easily frustrated she'd get if chunks of mud were hitting her in the belly. Seasons of Love was great, and International Spy broke hobbles, not the end of the world. And then in the second set, all these horses did their work well, not a breaker in the set. Bruno looked great. Time is on my side. I was very, very happy with him. McPaisley, very impressed with the difference in her attitude. Winter Bells lost a shoe and looked great. Amy was flying on the outside with her again. Insider Trading was right beside her. Blarney Castle won the set. And Great Bet, like I said, I'm going to defer to when I get to go with Great Bet. Well, then we'll see how Great Bet likes his job. I think his attitude will change quite a bit. And then the last set, Rito's Lady, I was very happy with her. We joke about her and stuff because she was like a bit of an orphan that came in on a private deal and was tough to gate, kind of an ugly, rickety gate on her when we got her going. But now that we got her pacing, I like her. I like what I see. Gritty. I like the dirt. I like the grit that she has. Easy in the turns did her work well today, but coming off tying up, for her to trot into her work was impressive enough. George of the Jungle, I scared him. He made a break. James Arthur was good. J-Port Beach Boy finished up good and Punched the Clock. Made a break, but I don't care. She was awesome too. So that was today's training. Now, the news for tomorrow, I'm going to have to post this video, I guess, because the news for tomorrow, I was going to wait till I got to Macedonia to post this on my Wi-Fi, but I'm going to have to post it now because we are going to video tomorrow. 8:15 start. I'm going to message Kelly and I'm going to send this video to you. 8:15 start today. We have all the babies going behind the gate now. Behind the gate. All the videos training. I was told there's a double in set number 5. You are correct. There is a double. I see the problem right now. I am going to fix it. Joey Cramp is going to go with that horse. So, just finishing up all the sets. I thought I had them all done, but I had a few little errors that were made. Joey Kramer. No, that's not Joey Kramer. It's Joey Cramp. Thank you, computer. I don't even know who Joey Kramer is. Cramp. Thank you. The sets are all up now. They're live. You guys can look at them. I'm going to reach out to Kelly and tell her that we are videoing tomorrow. We have all the horses going. The only scratches tomorrow, Electric Line, I told you, sesamoiditis we're working on behind. Activation was castrated, but he was operated on, right, because he was a ridgeling. So Mike has asked that we don't train him before Saturday, so he's off. We may have one further scratch. Royal Emeralds maybe scratch. She jumped on her foot when I went with her the last time, and she trained good, but it was in a meaty area, and they think there might have been a little surface infection there. She was a little bit lame on it the last few days. So I had asked the blacksmith to meet us at the barn tomorrow, 7:45. We took that shoe off today, soaked her foot, animal indexed it. For those of you horsemen, you know what that means. We may have to put a bar shoe on her. Now, if she walks down tomorrow, she's training. You're not getting into training that easily. And if she doesn't, then she'll be scratched. But she was awesome. Her manners weren't an A+. the last time I went with her, but her speed and power were definitely A+. She's got a lot to offer, this filly. So if she's lame at all tomorrow, she probably won't go. If the bar shoe helps and she goes on the track and she thaws out, then so be it. She may end up jogging, she may end up training, but that will be set number 7. I'm interested to go with a number of the horses tomorrow. Very, very happy. Daryl's got the numbers picked out. Lauren's messaging everybody to make sure they show up early. All the troops are being mustered, so to speak. That I can see only 2 scratches. May end up being a couple. If we have one with a temperature or something, so be it. But a full slate for the most part, as I can tell you right now. As I said, the only scratches for sure that I can tell you, I can bring to you, Activation and Electric Line won't be going tomorrow. Royal Emeralds is a potential scratch, but not yet. Not as of yet. So, we talked about the horses in to go this week. Haunted House got back in the same class, so that's exciting. Really happy with the way he raced, and I know James was raving about him after the race. He really liked him. JK Victory's going to need a start. James probably going to drive him easy on Saturday. That's those 2. A couple other horses are in to go this week. Atlas, I see, is in to go. I'm missing a bunch of horses. Nevertheless, the whole point of this video was to let you know that we are doing the videos, update you on how the horses in Ontario trained today, talk about who's in to go, and also talk about a horse that we're interested in potentially buying. So with that, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to fuel up as I generally do here in whatever the hell this place is called, and keep heading. I'm about 2.5 hours away from 3 hours away from Macedonia. So I'll talk to you soon. Talk to you in the morning. Let you know how things went. Good luck to everybody, especially Stonebridge Acadi. I know I didn't eat supper tonight. All I had, that was the supper. 1 Starbucks, put on 6 pounds in Jamaica. I want to look like a dairy cow tomorrow at Northfield Park. So I'm going to tuck up, see if I can get Stonebridge Acadi across tomorrow. Take care, everyone.